Okay, this video is for the second part of your cooldown, which asks you to use your function to predict when there will be 3 million COVID-19 cases in the US. So when will there be 3 million cases? How many days will it take us to reach the number of 3 million cases of COVID? Okay, so over here you can see we just did this math in the previous video. We plugged in 25 for D, and that was how we predicted how many cases there would be on April 14th. I'm just leaving this here so we can compare it to what we're about to do. What we're about to do is try to predict after how many days will there be 3 billion cases of COVID. So what I've done to begin is I just wrote out the right side of the equation, exactly as Leslie has it up here, 18,747 times 2 to the power of D. This time, instead of plugging in 25 or plugging in a number for D, we're actually going to plug in something on the output side, on the left side of the equation, because as we annotated in the last video, this left side of the equation represents, I guess we'll just annotate it again, represents the number of COVID cases. So if we're trying to think, our known value is the number of cases. We know we're looking for 3 million cases. And our unknown this time is D. We're trying to see in how many days will it take us to reach 3 million on the other side of the equation, on the output side. So what I'm going to do is write out 3 million. I'm going to basically plug in 3 million on the left side. And 3 million looks like this. 3, 0, 0, 0, 0. Wow, this is really hard to draw. 0, 0, 0. So here's my setup, 3 million equals, and then just the right side of the equation. Now, how do we solve an equation? We try to isolate the variable. So the first thing I'm going to do to isolate the variable is, let me just make this clear. I'm trying to solve for D. So I'm going to try to get this all by itself on one side of the equation. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the 18,747. Let's do this in red. Right now it's being multiplied. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 18,747. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side. So on the other side, 18,747. This cancels out. Great, that's what I wanted it to do. And then I'm going to get this number in my calculator. So that's going to be 3 million divided by 18,747, and it's going to give me about 160. I'm just going to round to the nearest whole number, which is 160. So let's go back to blue, and that's going to simplify to 160 equals, and now this canceled out, so I'm just left with, on the other side, 2 to the power of D. So already this looks a little bit simpler and better to solve. Now, how do I isolate D when D is an exponent? What's the opposite of an exponent? See if you can think of the answer. What's the opposite or the inverse of an exponent? How do you get rid of an exponent? The opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of multiplication is division. The opposite of an exponent is a log. So I'm going to rewrite this expression as a logarithm. So crazy but true. I'm going to write the word log. Just means the opposite of an exponent. It's the inverse. The base of my log is always going to be the base of my exponent. So the 2, it's going to be log base of 2. Log base 2 of the 160 goes inside the parentheses. Hopefully this looks familiar. And then the exponent becomes the solution on the other side of the equation, so equals d. And very conveniently, we have now isolated d. Remember, that's what we were trying to do, and we did it. We isolated d. So now I just have to figure out what is this number, log base 2 of 160. I'm going to go to Desmos. I'm going to go functions, log base 2 of 160. And again, I have a number. I'm going to round to the nearest whole number. 7.3 is closer to 7 than it is to 8. So I'm going to choose 7 as my closest whole number. So I'm going to get 7 equals D. Okay, let me just type out my final answer as the last step. So I'll say after 7 days, there will be 3 million COVID-19 cases. Okay, after 7 days, well, 7 days since when? 7 days since our beginning date, which is March 20th. So 7 days after March 20th would be March 27th. So maybe I can include that in my answer. So after 7 days, which would be on March 27th, because there's 7 days between March 20th and March 27th. There will be 3 million COVID-19 cases. Okay, so if you want to pause the video here, you could leave this screen up on your computer just so you can have examples of both of these types of questions for when you try this using your own model for your cool down today. I really hope this was helpful. Reach out and ask questions if you're still confused about anything, and have a wonderful rest of your day.